All right, we are here with Mr. Billy Farrish, Director of Music here at Prospect Hill Baptist Church, and a renowned musician here in Person County. So, Mr. Farrish, we just want to hear about your experiences in life, all the things that have played a role in getting you to the point where you are now in life. So, as always, we're going to start at the beginning. Tell us about your early years, your upbringing here in Person County.
Well, I was adopted here in Person County around 1950, and among the Felinses and the Bratches out in Hurls Mill. And I was adopted there by Lady Allie Felines Grace, who was a school teacher some years back at the old Union Grove Church school down there. They were a very good family to me. I ended up going to a school called Pine Hill School, which is near Pine Hill Primitive Baptist Church. It was a two-room school where Miss Rosetta Thompson was the teacher there, and I went there for 2 years. They built 4 new schools in the county, and they built Oak Lane as one of those schools, along with Woodland, I said 3 other schools, Woodland and North End. And I went to Oak Lane in the 3rd grade. And of course, I was there with teachers such as Hertzel Seats, Morris Jones was the principal, Miss Bratcher, Debbie O'Bratcher's wife, and many of those people. So I went to school there. I grew up on a tobacco farm. My parents, they had built their own house and they had a farm there, and we raised tobacco and corn and grain product. My first father, Roy Graves, died in 1958. And of course, for a couple of years, my mother wasn't married. And then again, she married again. So she married Howard Baylor Smith, who was a farmer as well. And so we continued to raise the same crops. The only thing, he raised crops to sell. We used to raise peas, butter beans, corn, all that. We used to have apples to sell. And every Saturday we would go to Roxborough, and we would go from house to house, and he would sell this product. My mom, we had cows. I had to milk every morning. So she would have sweet milk on the truck to sell. She would have butter and buttermilk. And even up on the hill, they call it in Roxborough, we used to go in there and sell a lot of stuff to the lady there. In 1962, I ended up going to Person County High School. It was all black. It wasn't integrated at that time. So I went to school there, where I graduated in 1966 there. After finishing school, I went up to A&T, but I didn't stay. I decided I'd rather buy cars and do some other things. So I came back and I went to work for Burlington Industries, where I worked for 3 years. And then I ended up going back to school at Durham Tech and staying in Durham for a short while, after which I decided that the city life just wasn't for me. So I came back home, but I continued to work. In 1970, I went to work for North Carolina Mutual Life Insurance Company. I became a printer for them. I printed the president's letterhead, stationery, the Christmas cards and stuff like that. After 6 years with them, a company in Hillsborough called Major Business System offered me a job that paid almost twice as much. And of course, it was half the distance. So it was on 86 in Hillsborough. So I went to work for Major Business Systems, where I worked there for 35 years, where I retired from approximately 10 years ago. So I've had a very good life. I also went to work for the Hurl Mill Fire Department. I was with them 33 years, and I became trained officer and captain there at that fire department. and I finally gave that up, you know. I always loved music, so I got out of high school in '66. I was brought up very religiously in Sunday school and prayer meeting every weekend, vacation Bible school. But when I got out of high school, I was feeling my Cheerios. So I thought it was a time I need to just get a car, experience life. So for 3 years, I was wild. And in 1969, I had a new 6-day Camaro, in which I had a wreck on the way to work one night. It threw me out. It rolled 3 times, actually in front of Reverend Ronald Brooks's father's house. And that night I came to just for a few seconds on the way to Duke to hear the ambulance attendant say, "We have a patient with internal injuries. We don't know if he's going to make it." That was on a Sunday night. I worked third shift. After getting to the hospital, I came to for a brief moment to see the highway patrolman standing there with a pink slip holding it up before me, and I went back out. I came to 5 days later on a Friday, and the doctor came and told me, said, "Ms. Farrish said, I'm sorry to tell you," said, "chances are you'll probably never walk again." And quite naturally, that hit me hard. And I remember, I say doing like Hezekiah, turning my head toward the wall, and I said, "Lord, I'm not going to ask you forgiveness because you've been warning me." He had already sent a man by the name of Lee Bratcher to my house to talk to me, along with other people who had talked to me and told me I need to change. But I was on a determined road. But after laying there for a while in the hospital, I said, "Lord, I don't have nowhere else to go." I said, "If you can't make me walk, heal me, nobody can." And so I went through months at home in a hospital bed. My mom looked after me diligently, you know, and after a while I ended up on crutches. Then I ended up back on my feet again. And that's when the Lord showed me, you need to turn your life around. And I went through some changes still, but eventually I came back to Union Grove Church where I had grew up at. And I stood up before the church one Sunday night and told them I knew I had done wrong. I was ready to get back into the church and back doing whatever the Lord had for me to do.